The NBA Finals are here, and we are left with two teams. One of them we all expected to be here, basically. The other is a bit more surprising. Um, if you look at the East, pretty much before the playoffs even started, just looking at the standings, you look at the East and you're just thinking, oh, cool, Boston has a free path. And that they did. They only lost two games up to the NBA Finals. They struggled in a couple of games against the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell, and also struggled against the Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton. But whatever, they made it. That's fine. And Mavericks, they faced what do you call it? They faced a Kawhi-less Clippers, which Luca was very injured. So you know what? That balances out. I feel like. What do you call? Uh, Luca's still injured against the Thunder. You could tell by the way he played. And they got like 3, 4 days of rest in between. And Luca looked like himself, basically. And Kyrie. So that's how the Mavericks made it here. In my original prediction video, I believe I had the Mavericks versus the Bucks. I was very high on the Mavericks coming into the playoffs because they were crazy hot, and I chose the Bucks because I'm a Celtics hater. But this is the finals we got, and I'm pretty surprised the Mavericks actually ended up making it. But that's whatever. So leave a like and subscribe. We're gonna talk about this series, and things that each team can do. So, Boston, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown take turns being the best player practically. Let's see. Is there any way I can get the roster? Whatever. This will have to do. Okay. This is from a previous matchup. I'm pretty sure it was after the deadline, so it's fine. I believe the Mavericks are not going to be able to play Daniel Gafford a whole lot like they were against the Timberwolves. They're going to have to run a lot of Derek Lively because he's actually quick and could stay on his feet, basically. Gafford, not so much. Maybe try Gafford on Porzingis, but if Porzingis is too quick, then you might just need to only play Gafford when like Al Horford's on the court, or you need, or you want to do a lob attempt and stuff, or to get Lively rest. Celtics. What can I say about their roster? They have probably the best starting five in the league all around. Tatum and Jaylen Brown, just like I don't know what you want me to say. So it's almost like facing two Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves. So I guess that could be put into perspective. The things the Mavs can do is run Tatum off the 3-point line, or maybe force him to shoot threes. He hasn't been shooting that well, but you're gonna need to keep the paint occupied, which is gonna be hard because Porzingis allows the space, so Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively can't just camp in the paint. I have suggested, like, when Al Horford's on the court, maybe try Luca on Porzingis, just because Luca's big and Porzingis doesn't really like to post up. Even then, I don't know if he can post up a guard, so that's one thing. I'm curious to see how Al Horford plays in this series because I feel like the Mavs do have the tools to make him practically a non-factor. Also, don't pay attention to the regular season matchups. The Celtics won by 28, but what was it? Freaking Tim Hardaway Jr. was getting like 20 minutes a game. Derek Jones Jr. only played 7 minutes in this game, and Jaden Hardy was basically getting DNP'd. So don't worry about that if you're nervous about that, Mavs fans. Derek White and Drew Holiday, they're probably going to take turns on Kyrie. I don't expect either of them to fully lock up Kyrie because the Mavericks could just screen. That's what one of their strongest is, just pick and rolls and stuff. They could take a note from what the Timberwolves were able to do, which is just blitz. basically whoever had the ball and make. This is only if Gafford's on the court because Lively seemed to figure it out. Make Gafford or Lively a decision maker. We'll see. And if you're the Mavericks, you're gonna need your role players to really step up. Maxi Kleber, or Kleba, he is pretty good. He's come back from injury, so in these next few days he should be back to normal, hitting corner threes like usual. He was huge in that Clippers series. He gave them options to spread the floor, which is gonna be huge against the Celtics. What do you call it? And I'm trying to think. Your role players are gonna need to hit their threes. PJ Washington and Derek Jones Jr. are gonna need to basically play like they were in the OKC series. The first 3 games of the Timberwolves series, they were practically non-factors, or at least they were just shooting bad. So that cannot happen. Luka's gonna be Luka. I'm not too nervous about that. If you're the Celtics, maybe just throw Tatum or Brown on him. And if that's not working, at that point, just focus on everyone else. Because, like, this is one of the best This is probably the best offensive player in the world. He's up there with, like, Curry and Durant and a bunch of others. Jokic. Except those guys, they have seemingly weaknesses. Like, Curry's is just his size. Jokic is just the fact he's a center, so he can't bring up the ball all the time. Luka, seemingly, you're just gonna have to hope that he misses his shots, and that's not too bad. Game 1 for the Mavericks is typically a feel-out game. Also, they always lose game 4 apparently, so that's something to look at. Tatum's gonna need to actually play like Jason Tatum should be playing. I think if the Celtics are to win this series, they need Tatum to be the best player on his team. Because the past few series, it's looked like Jaylen Brown's been better, especially in clutch situations. Oh yeah, that's another thing. They basically need to practically blow out the Mavericks in every game almost, because I do not trust the Celtics in the clutch. They were struggling against, Nemhart and Pascal Siakam in the clutch. They were also struggling against what was the other team? Evan Mobley and Max Strus in the clutch. Now, those teams, they struggled in the clutch because they were missing their star players. So they're gonna need to have some blowouts to pull out some wins, because I don't know if anyone on the Celtics is gonna consistently go shot for shot with Kyrie and Luka. The only time Kyrie and Luka both lost a clutch game, like, they were having their worst game of the series or the playoffs basically. So that's another thing to look out for. I'm trying to see a world where the Mavericks can win this. I think it's possible. I'm gonna say Mavericks in 6 because I'm a hater. But maybe. But I do think if this series goes 7, the Mavericks will win, because typically the team with the best player in the series is gonna win, and the best player of the series is gonna be Luka. So Celtics are gonna want to close this out in 5. Don't let it get to 6. Probably that would be my suggestion. Now, if the Mavericks lose, it's not the end of the world. It's gonna suck, and with this Western Conference, it does suck. But you do have a young team. Everyone on your team can improve. Luka is just gonna be entering his prime next year. Derek Lively's a rookie. You got people. Basically, only Kyrie is someone you could look at and say, they might regress. For the Celtics, if you lose, you're gonna need to have conversations about Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, because this Tatum era has not been looking too performance wise. because the top players like superstars, they have a top gear they can hit consistently to carry their teams over the hump. You saw Luka against the Timberwolves. Giannis was able to do that against the Suns. Jokic did that the whole playoff run. Um, and Tatum, I don't. Maybe he just doesn't have that it factor. You might have to consider that. So, it's now or never for the Celtics practically. So they desperately need this championship much more than the Mavericks. Um, but sure, well, screw it. We'll say Mavericks in 7 because I'm a hater. Leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.